Welcome to ACD Combatives, your combatives and control tactics channel. Please like, subscribe, and share.
Hey, my people, this is Coach Kurt. This is a good one. This one comes out of Tampa, Florida. A woman was attacked while working out. A little background on her. I believe her name is Nashilia Alman. I know I'm probably slaughtering that name. It's Tampa, Florida. She's working out in the gym. Now, this is an apartment complex gym, which is going to blow your mind because when you see it, you'll say, damn, that's nice for an apartment complex. It looks like a professional level gym. But it's super important that when I talk about self-defense, one of the things I don't talk about as much is the fighting spirit. I say stuff like, hit him back first, more force now equals less force later. All that is true, but what that boils down to is being left of bang, seeing things before they happen, anticipating by pre-assault indicators, seeing these things, trusting in your sixth sense, and then when the shit hits the fan, fighting spirit. Here she is in that gym. See what I'm talking about? That's a really nice gym for an apartment complex. He's at the door trying to let him get in, and he can't because he doesn't have a key card. Says he doesn't actually live there. But she's being nice, and she lets it in. You see she's training. She's doing some hip thrusters on the bench, and he walks up on her at what they didn't show in the video because they cut to it is that she's standing there. Well, she obviously was probably getting creeped out by this guy and stopped training and stared him down like, what are you doing? Because she could tell her spider senses were tingling. What are you doing? And sure enough, he comes up on her and assaults her or attempts to assault her. And she opens up a can of whoop ass. Fighting spirit, guys. This is what I'm talking about right here. The warrior mindset that you will not quit. You will fight like the third monkey on the ramp to Noah's Ark, or you will die trying. This is your hill. You will keep it. She is amazing. This is what I'm talking about. That's one thing it's hard to teach. I can teach techniques to people. I can teach concepts, use of force. I can use all this, but it's hard to teach fighting spirit. And this woman has it in spades. She is a perfect example of don't quit. He grabs her around the waist after she had run into this other half of the gym. It looks like more of the cardio side of the gym. And takes her to the ground because he's probably, even though she's so athletic, he's probably stronger than her. Generally speaking, and I'm not trying to start a fight here, men, generally speaking, are stronger than women. So he was able to get a hold of her finally and take her to the ground. But because of her athleticism, because of the fact she trained so hard, by the look of her technique, she doesn't do anything like Krav Maga or MMA. She's just strictly athletic and strong for her size. And that paid off. More so than the athleticism was her fighting spirit. She just was athletic and had a fighting spirit and just would not quit. And you see that as this replays, that she's doing a lot of not so refined techniques. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but she's just not quitting. Here she is. She sees him approaching the door. He's knocking on the door. And she lets him in. Guys, from a law enforcement point of view, if somebody belongs there, they'll let themselves in. Even if they do belong there, though, we're assuming that only bad people that don't belong can assault you. And here's an example of he belongs. He is a patron at this bar, and so is she. But he can still assault you. And this is where training and mindset comes in. This is a good example of what Krav Maga training could get you. Guys, training is super important. But even more so is the mindset that goes along with it. Training is super important, and training can help you develop that fighting mindset. Again, like I've mentioned before, is why they keep pugil stick training in the military, is to help develop that aggression. And here you are, you see that he walked up on her instantly. She had already stood her ground, like, what's he doing? She was in a athletic stance, and she started putting the bench in between her and him. But he finally catches up with her and takes her to the ground. And she is fighting like a bobcat, in a trap. He takes her down. She's got him in a headlock, and as you can see, she's still trying to call 911. Don't know if she actually successfully got out on the phone or not. This is the bad guy. He pled not guilty. Allegedly, he don't know if it was before this assault or after. He had also knocked on the door of a female he had been watching, and she opened the door, and he tried to get in saying, hey, I want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. And her fiance was in the apartment and chased him off. So this guy's a predator. He obviously isn't right in the head. You can kind of see that by his body language later in the video as it pans through different aspects of this attack, of this assault. Guys, at the end of the day, training is super important. Not just the martial art techniques of MMA or jiu-jitsu or Krav Maga, but fitness. And I should be listening to myself on this. My wife is way more athletic than I am. She's continuously trains 5-6 days a week. Weightlifting and cardio, blah, blah, blah. A lot of HIIT workouts, high-intensity interval training. And this is what this woman does. She's a figure competitor, so lots of weightlifting, lots of athletic training. And as you can see, it paid off. Because, again, her technique wasn't excessively refined. It was very loosey-goosey technique. But the aggression of it, where she was just swinging with everything she had, hitting him in the face. She grabbed him by the beard and ripped beard hair out. You saw from his picture his thick beard. That worked against him. And she was clinching with him by grabbing onto his clothing. A good example of how the gi training in jiu-jitsu helps, having something to grab onto and knowing how to manipulate and break grips and take people down or manipulate the body by using the clothing. All this she was instinctively doing. Guys, grappling is something that we as human beings instinctively like doing. That's why the training comes in super handy. But lacking that particular training, she had aggression that took her through this. Her aggression, I'm going to attack you, I'm going to hit you back first, and I'm going to take you down. How dare you touch me, you piece of crap? That mindset carried her through this attack. I can't emphasize the fighting spirit enough, which is why I keep repeating it. The fact that she had that, and that's what carried her through that, is huge. I sometimes see that training with police officers. You wouldn't think that, but they've been through 18 weeks of academy, they've been through 12 weeks of field training or 16 weeks of field training, 18 weeks, depending on what agency you're with. There's agencies that do 6 months of field training plus. I think LAPD does a year. So it depends. But one thing I've noticed in control tactics training is some of the officers just have no fighting spirit. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, this person needs to step it up. And it's not just, and that comes with a lack of confidence in not knowing what you're doing. If you only get 8 to 10 hours a year of control tactics training, your confidence is low and you have no fighting spirit. Everybody's always talking about de-escalation and all these cool little classes you can go to. Guys, you see from this incident, there was not going to be any de-escalation. And if you want to de-escalate, give your officers, male, female, of all sizes, shapes, good control tactics training. They should be training at least once a week in some style of combatives, jiu-jitsu, MMA, Krav Maga, all of the above, whatever. I know that sounds excessive to you bosses out there, like, oh, there's no way we can do that. It can be done. It absolutely can be done. But guys, to wrap it up, at the end of the day, I just want to take my hat off and salute this female, how badass she was. Perfect example of that fighting spirit that we should all learn from. All right, everybody, take care and stay safe.
Superhero landing. She gonna do a superhero landing. Wait for it. Woo! Superhero landing. Yeah, that's really hard on your knees. Totally impractical. They all do it.
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out.